All right, we're going to talk about decision fatigue and positioning. What are the two? What are they even related? And why are we talking about this? Well, I was thinking about this the other day, and as you could tell, I did some more stuff after that. But then I decided to make sure I make one and talk about decision fatigue. So, shameless plug, me and my business partner, we wrote the modern book on positioning. My business partner being John Paul Mendoza, a consultant of many years, became a mentor, became a friend, and then we decided to partner up with this. And the release date of this being Amazon very, very soon. It's getting closer. So go to positiontowinbook.com. Facebook is banning me these days. So I don't know if somebody's reporting me, which maybe, or they just don't like the fact that sometimes I put links. It's not like I'm spamming people, which I don't. But anyway, so what does making decisions have to do with positioning? Well, if you think about it, positioning is the decisions that have either already been made for you or the decisions that you made at some point that you don't have to make again. Now, why is that important? Well, it is because every decision extracts a mental cost in our head. Okay, and this has been proven pretty extensively here. I'm gonna use the green here, right? Let's say it costs mental value, mental energy, right, to be able to make a decision. Right? As a matter of fact, the word to decide, the verb to decide, it's no coincidence that suffix rhymes with suicide and homicide, right? It's I believe you pronounce it cadere, which is the Latin root word of that part of the word, which basically literally means to cut, right? And so if you put the D in front, it's like off cut, or to cut off, which makes total sense if you think about it, because decision, when you decide on something, you simultaneously decide on not everything else. You're going to do that as opposed to everything else, and that extracts a mental cost. They did this really incredible study where they put couples that were about to get married, they put them on in front of a computer to decide, some of them to decide what to be given at their wedding. You know, like when you build a registry and you tell people, okay, here's what we want, here's the colors, here's the styles, all that. And then they put another group of couples that were also getting married through the same process, except they actually didn't have to decide anything. All they had to do was just look through all the options possible. And then to test to see if that would wear people out one way or another, they had them put their hands in ice cold water, and to hold them there as long as they could. And invariably, the group that was made to decide to make those decisions, they could not hold their hands in the water as long as the other group. Like, it actually wore them down. If you ever had to make a lot of decisions in a day, if you ever had a very extensive day of shopping, if you had a very extensive day of making a lot of decisions maybe in your business, you realize this is the case. This is the reason why a lot of these business people, they wear the same stuff all the time, because they don't have to make that decision. I know I do that. I own several pairs of the same pants, and then I just own different colors of basically the same shirt, right? I have other things that sometimes I wear, but most of the time, this is what I wear, so because it's one decision less that I have to make. So what you want to do is, if there's a finite number of decisions that somebody can make in a day, that also means that there's a finite number of decisions that somebody can make in their lifetime. And this is why positioning is important. Because since we're not going to decide on everything, we're going to use, the fancy word is heuristics. The non-fancy word is rules of thumb. We're going to use a rule of thumb to be able to make these choices. That's why reviews work. That's why social proof works. So this is why we felt with my business partner that this book was really, really needed, because we needed to expand on the concept of positioning, because positioning didn't start with something like guys like Jack Reese and Al Trout, who wrote Positioning: The Battle for Your Mind in 1981. It didn't start with David Ogilvy saying in the 60s or 70s that the number one criteria was positioning in writing an ad or doing any kind of advertising. It didn't start with marketing. It didn't start with business. Positioning is just a word that means the way that people organize things in their head. That's basically what it means. And this is key, because these are the decisions that have already been made by somebody. Okay? So when you make that decision, when you make the decision that the product that you want, it's that one, right? And let's say you want to change that because you're a competitor. So you want this person to not choose the blue product. You wanted to choose the red product, which is your product, right? This will take no energy. But this will take energy. And so you have friction here, and that's a problem. So the point is, since decisions take effort, since they take conscious effort, the most important thing that you can do is to get yourself in a position where choosing you, whether it is choosing you as a business partner, choosing you as a partner, as a lover, literally this is how it works too. This is why people come back with their exes, right? Because that decision was already made. And so it's not as bad as trying something else, because you know exactly how bad they are, but you don't really know how bad somebody else could be. So it's like, well, this is a lot easier, so let me go with that, right? This is the same. You want to be the person who's easier to promote. You want to be, this is talking about personal positioning, right? But also, if you have a product or a service, or you have a company, you want it to be, your company to be like the no-brainer, even though it's not the best, right? So like you have somebody like, let me use this because this will make sense. Let me use the yellow. You have McDonald's, right? You have the Golden Arches. Right? And why does McDonald's still occupy kind of like the first spot in fast food? Not because they have a good product, but because they have a reliable product. You know what you're gonna get. And this cuts down on the energy of the decision. Have you ever been around a group of friends and you guys are trying to decide where to eat? Decide where to eat? It's like, oh my God, and then people are saying stuff like, since they don't want to take this energy, right? So they say, well, I've heard about this place, but I don't really know how good it is. What they're really saying is, look, I'm kind of telling you this, but I'm not really making a decision. I want you to make it, because if you make it, then it's on you, not on me, and then it requires no energy, right? So this is the spot where you want to be. That is the primary position, and why having the top position in any market is more valuable than anything. I mean, it's very hard to find anything, because once you lose that, man, I see the blue there, it kind of reminds me of Blockbuster, right? Once you lose that, man, it's like, it's so hard to get it back, and if you can ever get it back, right? Ford had the top position, then eventually they lost to General Motors, and then it's just kind of been crazy since then. But yeah, you definitely don't want to lose that. So in recap, I want to make this video short. I'm working on making a bunch of videos short, but this video I want to make it short to see, because I'm experimenting with posting it on LinkedIn, and I'm also want to post it on Instagram TV, because you might be watching me on Instagram TV now. That's what I'm doing. So decision fatigue is related to positioning, because you want to be the person, you want to be the product, you want to be the service that people have already made that decision to, and it takes no energy to make that decision to buy from you again, to go out with you again, to promote you again, to trust you again because hey, that's already been made, right? Even if it's not the greatest, this is very counterintuitive because people say, so they see a competitive field like that and then they go, well, if I create a better product, I would automatically gain that top position. But that's not how it works. And why it doesn't work that way? Because of decision fatigue, among other things. It's a little more complicated than that. But this is a big one. This adds a lot of friction. This is why buy now button in Amazon works so well. You already made that decision to trust them with your credit card, with your home address, with all the logistics of, you don't have to figure out, okay, what if I give it to somebody else and it's late, they don't bring it by, they maybe it could be here in an hour, maybe it's a new company and says, well, since Amazon's offering 2 days free shipping, we're gonna offer our shipping for free, right? Well, maybe it works, right? But if you've never heard that it works anywhere, if you've never seen any of those reviews, right? The reviews are somebody else's decisions that somebody else has to live with, that then you can go and say, oh yeah, I guess yeah, they were right. So now you can make maybe reviews or something fall somewhere in here, right? It's a little bit of energy, but doesn't take as much as if you had to make the decision yourself, right? So same thing. It's just the same old thing. We don't want to decide. We want to be able to just have the thing. And we don't want to make, because we don't want to make a wrong choice, right? Now, this is of course a fallacy because we are making choices all the time. Even not making a choice is a choice, right? But since it doesn't take energy because we already made it, in other words, a bad choice already made is better for the mind than a good choice maybe that you could make potentially in the future. Right? Again, this is why people come back with their exes. This is why people can't get rid of their crappy friends that they have. This is why people don't want to go out and get a new job even though they're miserable where they are. Because I already made that decision, and it costs a lot, and depending on the level of the decision, it costs more. Right? So what I think is very interesting is that your mind is smarter than you, so to speak, about this, and it can kind of calculate and go, wait, do we even want to think about this? It's like, no, we don't want to think about that. We don't want to think about where our fundamental decisions, whether given to us or made by us, are good. Let's say about morality or about our philosophical standing, right? Or about the way our industry would work. I was talking to somebody that I plan to work with, and she's been helping me out with some stuff, smart girl, and I was telling her, look, the way that a university divides a program, it's fine because they're dividing a program. They're saying, okay, here's the PR department, here's the marketing department, and they don't have really a sales department in a university, which tells you a lot about a university. But the way that they break it down, it's the way that they break it down. But once you break a piece, then you have to live with those presuppositions, and you just kind of take them on faith, right? So there are a lot of things in our head that we've been given, and this is part of the culturization process too. This is what part of what culture does. It teaches us things that all people already decided is the right way, right? And the more implicit, the more tacit these things are, the less they're even visible. They're just invisible. So like you think about when people say think outside the box. This is what they mean. They want you to be over here. Well, that extracts a cost, first of all, right? And second of all, that presupposes that you see the wall. So when you think about a box is like, you see that you kind of have the picture in your head of a person or an individual or even maybe just your eyes. And then the box size, right? But imagine a box that was so big, or that you were so tiny, right? That the walls were so far that you couldn't see them. Well, they would be invisible, but it doesn't mean you're not inside of a box. It doesn't mean that, for example, culture, all these people out here, the way that they're driving, the street's name, the cars, the conventions of all these kinds of things are decisions that have already been made collectively, so that you and I, we grow up and we imitate, so we don't have to make that, because there's just simply not enough time to make all of the decisions we would need to make to, let's say, generate culture or generate a set of values, of philosophical presuppositions, of psychological understanding of ourselves, all the way up to what should we use for toothpaste. There's just no way. And I guess that's the key point. Decision fatigue is true and is real, and it affects positioning, and you should worry about it, because since you can only make finite decisions in your life, then that means that most of the decisions that you are going to take, they're things that you want it to be somebody else's job, right? You want somebody else to choose dinner. You want somebody else to decide where to go on vacation, right? Because if it's wrong, and this is exactly why it extracts the cost, then it's on them and not on you. So don't let decision fatigue affect you, even though it affects all of us. It affects, and when I say don't let it affect you, is don't think that this is not a thing, that you could just get people to change to your product, to choosing you, the wonderful you, versus the good old thing or the good old bad thing that they're already used to, because of decision fatigue. See you guys in the next one.